What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Keeping It Real podcast, where every week we talk all things movies and TV. I'm your host, James. I'm joined by Jack, Calvin, and Reese today to talk about the latest addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Eternals. Directed by Chloe Zhao, Marvel's Eternals introduces us to a brand new cast of characters from the planet Olympia who were sent to Earth by the Prime Celestial Arishem to defend humanity from the hostile alien race known as the Deviants. So this currently, I mean, it won't change anytime soon, but this currently holds the record for the worst reviewed MCU entry on Rotten Tomatoes. Is it I think, still around 50%?
It's like 58 or something, isn't it?
58, yeah. Shockingly low. I think we were all a bit surprised when that came out. I imagine our thoughts might be similarly mixed. So, Reese, you're the only one who I haven't actually talked to about Eternals yet. So, why don't you start us off? Oh, we'll do spoiler-free thoughts first.
Spoiler-free.
I know sometimes we get confused and we get lost.
Yeah, are we definitely doing spoiler-free now, or
we're definitely doing spoiler-free?
Everyone else is gonna go gang-ho on a spoiler.
I'll make it clear. We'll do a round of spoiler-free, and then I'll make it clear.
Well, this isn't a spoiler for anyone. It's a fucking long film.
And as we know, Reese hates movies that are over 2 hours.
Oh man,
no, he's not got the time for it.
I hate movies that are over 2 hours, but feel that way.
Like half a day.
Like, oh my God, Eternals felt so long. Like, it's the first time I've checked my phone in the cinema to see what time it was in a long time.
You have to keep waking yourself up like you did during Dune.
No, I was fully awake the whole time. I think the trouble with this film was they had pacing issues.
Yeah.
There was some things that I feel like didn't necessarily need to be there, or if they were in there, could have had less of, definitely. There was a few of the storylines that I didn't care for, didn't need to be in there. And I'll be honest, I didn't. How many characters are there? There's like 10 main characters, right?
10 Eternals, yeah.
I liked about 3 of them.
Can you say which 3?
I can try and remember their names. They got such mad names.
Do they?
Nah, no, come on, man. There's only 10.
It's not as easy to. It's not easy to remember as
like Iron Man.
Even
Peter, drink, man.
You know. Well, Spike wasn't. Spike was probably my least favorite character.
Give us your favorite 3 then.
Spike.
Man, what was his name? Oh God, no! I'm not gonna do it because I'm gonna have to describe them, and I'm not gonna.
Well, all right, we'll get to favorite characters later. Then we'll all pick our favorites.
Eternals, and then I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, that one. You know, who looks like this? Because
while Reese is having a Google, Jack, what did you think of Eternals?
Shock horror. I enjoyed it.
You're such a Marvel shill.
Well, like I said, I've said to you and Carl, like afterwards, I like ranked it amongst everything else in the MCU, and it was pretty much bang on in the middle, which is exactly how I felt about it at the time. I was like, it killed 2 hours. What, 2 hours 40?
37 minutes. Yeah.
Crikey, I thought it was short. It killed that time for me. I didn't really dislike it generally. I thought it was just decent.
What did you like about it?
I thought like the characters. What I think it did for me is like the characters, like obviously when you see like the big lineup, I anticipated liking certain ones and not liking other ones, and it basically flipped it all on its head for me. Like okay. Like some of my favorites, like Barry Keoghan, what was Druig? He was sick. Who I literally thought was like, he's going to do my fucking nut in. Don't know why. Same with like Fastos. I didn't think I was going to rate him at all, but like same thing really. It did feel they dwelled a bit too long in like all the past stuff, and like it was kind of like darting about. They were there for like 10 minutes and they would dart somewhere else. But I don't know. It felt like it might have been a bit too long, but I still felt like it added something to the film. Just, you know, I can't really say anything else about spoiling it. So,
all right, Calvin.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I didn't really like it, but I'm still slightly unsure of where I really felt about it, because I think that the character development, or less development and getting to know the characters, was done really well, and they felt grounded, and I believe that they were real people, which most Marvel films struggle with. They're very much like on a pedestal heroes.
Yeah.
So I like that stuff, but I do think it leaned too heavily to that side of things and not heavily enough towards plot and other things, because obviously the plot is, yes, the film's not worth the length, and it's a mess whilst being predictable and dull, and I don't know how you manage that. You know, how is something a mess and also dull and predictable? Like, it's just confusing. But yeah, another thing to mention about the characters is the representation that they obviously presented in this film is great. I think that gives, like, there's a real plus point to this film.
Yeah.
I feel like all the characters they put in there felt like they were actually their own characters and not just in there for representation's sake. Like, they all felt like it all felt real, which I enjoyed. Which I think is like a big step in the right direction, because Marvel, as of yet, hasn't been able to actually do these things, and it's a weird thing to not be able to do, because it's in this like modern day and age. It's weird that you can't have a lot of things still don't have.
It is surprising that we're
representation.
only just getting to this. Yeah.
Or they're not willing to like show certain things. It's just, I don't know. It's just weird to me that people are still a bit weird on that. Yeah, I think it was shot amazingly, but I think sort of Chloe Zhao's direction style just lingers too long for me on certain aspects. Like, I don't know, just scenes played out for way too long when they could have been moving on to the next thing. And then by the time we got to the third act, I was like, wow, it doesn't seem like we've got much time left. And then that played out relatively quickly. So yeah, I sort of feel middling on it. I think I disliked it. Did I dislike it more than I liked it? I don't know. I can't decide.
I was very much like you after I've seen this twice now. I saw it again last night. Because after my first time, I saw it with Jack, and everyone was asking me like, "Oh, what do you think?" And I was like, I genuinely don't know. I don't know how I feel about this film. There's a lot of good, but there is also quite a bit of bad. So when I went the second time, I really tried to focus on the stuff that I liked, and I found myself having I really enjoyed it the second time. I felt it just went by faster. I didn't feel distracted like I did the first time, purely just because of expectations, I imagine. You were talking about the cast. I think the cast is fantastic, and I think the main draw to their performances is that I believe these actors were picked very specifically because of who they are, and I felt the performance was really natural, and the actors brought a lot of themselves to each role. I loved how this was it's sort of just like a love letter to Earth and us humans, and we get so many lines of I'll save that for the spoilers, because that's sort of comes into the plot. I liked how it expanded the universe in this such a grand, explosive way. I really liked a few of the relationships between the characters. Like, obviously everyone's got their different interactions within the group, but I think Thena and Gilgamesh was the heart of the film for me. And then Druig and Makari with their little, flirtation relationship. I thought that was really fun. There are some bad points, though. I feel we jump into the action just way too quickly. I think there's just a lack of build-up. The story can be quite illogical at times, and we'll talk about that later. And then I feel, without giving anything away, the deviants that have been, marketed as the villains of the film are, I feel, just wasted opportunities. I missed this off my pros. Angelina Jolie, not the world's greatest actress, not got the greatest filmography, but I don't think there's anyone else in this business who has her screen presence is just unrivaled. I think she just holds such power, and the way she plays her strength with her vulnerability as Thena, I thought was fantastic, and she was easily my favorite character in the film. Do we want to go into spoilers?
Yeah,
let's go.
On to the Angelina Jolie thing. Whatever that mad weary thing is, that is
mad weary.
That's where I struggled with her, like Thena's story.
Every time they said mad weary, I was like, what the fuck are they saying?
Yeah. What I was like, what is?
It's like a road man trying to say he's tired, isn't it?
I'm mad weary.
Mad weary, but
yeah. It felt like it didn't. It felt like it was only pushed in there because they needed a reason to sort of hint at why, like what the Celestials' sort of deal is, that they keep wiping their memories and whatnot. But I just feel like it didn't work. It wasn't explained properly. It came out of nowhere. I have no idea how they all know about it. If there's only ever been 10 of them on Earth, how do they know about it? Has it happened to someone else before?
Yeah, I was confused by that, because Sprite at one point goes, well, that's what mad weary is. It's past memories breaking through under the weight of them. But I'm like, how do you know that?
I think it was just put in to make.
Aren't we just discovering this now? Like,
I think it was just put in to make Thena interesting, to be honest with you.
Thena was interesting. How dare you?
What a fucking boring character, man.
I resent that.
Brought nothing to the film at all. She was a liability, if anything.
If we did video, I just guffawed.
I was looking for, like, she seemed awesome in the adverts, and at the end, I was just like,
she was the best character, Reese.
No, I don't think so. I don't think she had much involvement to what eventually happened by the end, as much as they built her up. I don't think
I thought she was going to be like one of like the big dog.
She didn't.
Big dog.
All she had to do at the end was kill Crow, which the name Crow in the comics is the reason he's been around for a long time. So that's how humans have got the name Kronos. It's like Titan in Greek mythology. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense to me that they've. I know they don't say his name in the film, but it is.
Yeah, they never. Yeah. I thought we were gonna get in. Calvin, you've read the comics, haven't you? Correct me if I'm wrong, but there is like a relationship, a romance sort of between Athena and Crow.
I can't remember.
That's what I heard anyway.
Yeah, I think I read this yesterday. That they were there was like a romantic thing between them.
Yeah, and I thought that was being teased at in the trailers, and then when it comes to it, that her fight scene with Crow, there was nothing really about that. I guess sort of him taking on Gilgamesh and those two having that connection, maybe that was what they were hinting at, but I don't know.
He was cool. I liked Gilgamesh. He was one of my
Gilgamesh,
just because he's like,
one of the boys. He brought it, and when he went out, I last night when I watched it again, I was this is really fucking emotional.
I was genuinely surprised. I figured maybe they'd kill someone off, but like when it was him, I was like, oh shit. I was like,
it was an absolute unit as well.
He's brilliant. Yeah,
I think it's
because fucking like loaded punch.
I think it's because they have to sort of kill him off because of Icarus's turn, because Gilgamesh is the strongest.
But then when they killed him off, I was like, oh, this means now that this Thena is gonna like lose it. She's gonna go into this mad weary state, and they're not gonna be able to control her. And then she just never does.
Well, she did get revenge. She did.
Yeah, but I know I wanted her to like lose her mind. That'd be a lot more interesting to me if she just
I see what
without him being there, without that support system, she just like lost it. But they didn't. They just kind of,
But I think him helping her all those years and sort of getting her to that point. And he's always like, Athena, just remember who you are. And they brought that back at the end, right as she takes Crow down.
No, she says the words "I remember," and that's it.
Yeah,
but that'll do. We don't need an explanation for that. We don't need anything else.
Let's move on from Athena. James thinks she's the heart of the film. We don't.
Can't believe you disagree with
an hour on Athena.
Yeah, so right, big spoilers. So it turns out the plot is that the Celestials are birthed from planets over millennia, and Earth is housing the Celestial Tiamat, and the Eternals have been sent to Earth to kill the deviants that were wiping out humanity. And the Celestials need humanity to give energy for the Celestial inside the planet.
Yeah, see how little sense that makes when you say it out loud?
No, yeah, what I'm no, it does make sense. Well,
in the comics, I feel like they do it a lot better because Tiamat is essentially like, in his past, he had essentially a falling out with the other, I can't remember exactly, but a falling out with the other Celestials, and they've imprisoned him in Earth,
right,
like under the surface of Earth, and he's like a sleeping Celestial, and then he eventually wakes up. But the whole idea of them being like, oh yeah, like they get birthed out of the planet, it didn't make sense to me why Tiamat was so close to the surface. Why
I did think that, yeah.
Even when he was, only his like hand and shoulder and a bit of his face came out, but even when his entire body was out, he still would have been too small to blow up a planet from the center outwards.
Yeah, I did feel like there was some inconsistency between what they were telling us and what they were showing us.
Yeah, the scale was way off. I was like, how is this? Is like, he's like maybe a quarter out of the, maybe a fifth out of the water. Like,
even his hand coming out of the Earth's core is like,
let it happen.
We know what side. We know what side he's on.
Yeah, I don't think he was going. I don't. Well, the scale.
Just let him out. Let him out. It's gonna be fine. We'll just lose.
I mean, it was in the middle of it was in the middle of nowhere anyway. Like, you know, let him do it.
Let him do it. See what happens.
See what happens.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. So the Eternals are. They're not from a planet called Olympia. Olympia does not exist. They are manufactured in a thing called, what did he call it? The World Forge?
World Forge.
I kept calling it the World Engine, but that's from Superman.
Yeah, Olympia does exist in the comics, though, and it's on Earth. It's in, like, Antarctica.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because in the comics, the Celestials created the humans, the Eternals, and the Deviants.
Every time they die, they just essentially wake up back in Olympia. But I'm guessing they're just killing off characters in this because it's easier, because they can't keep bringing them back. Because just
like,
perhaps
I know they make the Eternals like weird robot things, don't they? Like, they're not like,
yeah. Which I asked the question: why does Phastos, who is his whole thing is technology, why over 7,000 years has he never realized that he's a robot?
Well, my other question, like, how?
I don't think they're necessarily robots. They're just more.
We
like
see
AI,
them though. We see them. They're all cogs and machinery.
But like,
I suppose, yeah.
With that? Because in like the comics, Thanos is an Eternal. So this entire time, was he just like a robot? Are there like
no, because Thanos was born.
But yeah, Thanos was born. Thanos's parents are separate, two Eternals on Titan, and they have children. Who is obviously Harry Styles now and Thanos.
So can you be born an Eternal? Like,
I think
if you are born two Eternals, make a baby. I
don't exactly know. I don't exactly know how they're doing it, but when in the spoilers for the after credit scene, when Harry Styles turns up in the after credit scene, they do announce him as Thanos' brother.
Yeah. No wonder Thanos was so angry. Imagine having Harry Styles as a brother and you're a big purple looking thing. You had no attention your entire life.
Yeah, I'd want to wipe out half the universe as well.
Have you seen what Harry Styles is? What's his name? Star Fox.
Star Fox, yeah.
Have you seen what his powers are?
Yeah, he's like super horny or something.
It's a
he can control people's, like, so you can like psychically control people's emotions, and like there's just like loads of memes that basically just makes people mad horny.
Yeah, like apparently like in some of the old storylines.
I think that's what he's supposed to be.
Yeah. They cast the right guy, didn't they? Ask him, Olivia Wilde. There was another. Yes, right. So we were talking about Thanos. the Eternals are instructed by the Celestials not to intervene within human conflicts other than when deviants are involved. There is the whole thing of Thanos having a deviant gene and all that, blah, blah, blah. But also Thanos and his plans to eradicate half the universe and half of Earth would directly interfere with the Celestials' plans. So surely, I know that the entire reason for this is that Eternals wasn't an idea for a film until after Infinity War and Endgame, and that's the only reason why this doesn't make sense. But, you know, if they want to have some sort of logic to it, then why wouldn't the Eternals get involved? Because, like, Druig mind controls, you know, hundreds of people and forms a cult.
Yeah, it's like a cult.
And then the Celestials don't get involved then, but, you know, surely if Thanos was directly intervening with the birth of a Celestial, Arisha would be like, you know what, guys, maybe just...
But, like, it didn't stop it, did it? It just, like, delayed it. So I feel like...
But like, do the Celestials know the future?
I don't know, but I feel like them telling them to intervene would be, or they'd be like, why? You know, like, I feel like they would have to contextualize it and explain their plan to them, which is what they don't want to do anyway.
But why did Celestials want to hide their plans from the Eternals? Because you could just make the Eternals not give them empathy, give them all the powers of all the other Eternals, send them to Earth, and literally give them the mission.
Eradicate the humans themselves.
Surely it's their empathy when they're there that makes them want to help them as well.
But if they're just instructed to advance this race, then surely they'd just do that as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you need some.
Well, I mean, these
to achieve that mission, you need some form of empathy.
These Celestials think they're, you know, all big, smart, and all-seeing. They're big dum-dums because everything they make seems to have a manufacturing flaw. Because the Deviants went wrong, and the Eternals care too much.
The Eternals' weakness is the power of love. Because Icarus is so in love with what's her name? Cersei. That he stops his whole belief, and he goes, "Yeah, go on, freeze this thing, and then I'll fly into the sun."
Yeah, because his name's Icarus.
Yeah, but I know his name's Icarus. But
you can't have a character named Icarus in a film and not fly him into the sun.
It's not that deep, right? She dumped you. You left her, and she moved on and found another British bloke to date. It's not that deep, mate. You're gonna fly into the sun.
If I got dumped by Gemma Chan, I'd jump into the sun.
And let's talk about the worst, most annoying character in any film. Sprite. What a little shit. What a little...
Yeah, she was a dickhead.
The best part of the film, I didn't like Druig until he came in and twatted on the head with a rock. That was the best part of the film. The fact that she was like, "Oh, I'm going to go with him because I love him." Shut the fuck up.
They should have made more of the Eternals more like not just Icarus. Like when she said she was going with him, I was like, okay, fair enough, because it's usually Sprite and Druig who like are the sort of tricksters and sort of are always vying for to become the top Eternal, and it's sort of like anti-heroes type villains sometimes. I wish they'd made more of the team. I wish there was more of a civil war aspect to it, but maybe they were trying to avoid that. But it seemed like too many of them were on one side.
I guess when you're putting them all up against Icarus, though, is, you know, he is the most powerful. I think it was maybe balances it out.
Well, there were like three of them, weren't there? Because there was Icarus and Sprite, and they had Kingo, but he didn't want to. Like, he basically left because he believed in their like. He believed their side, but he didn't want to fight anybody.
He's got his beliefs, but he's not going to hurt his family.
Yeah, but I mean, they should have made more of them like almost a villain, because it'd be more interesting. It's like a character thing than them all being moral.
Yeah, but then I don't know.
I just feel like it would be more interesting to me if they weren't all so moral, especially Druig. Like he does some stuff that isn't moral. In this, he has a cult, but in the comics, he runs a whole city, a whole country even.
Well, I think we see from Druig throughout the film that he's, you know, obviously he has these mind control powers, and they could be used for bad, but he is using them for the good of humanity. Is, you know, what he thinks. He's like, they're all hurting each other, and I can stop it. In, you know, with thought.
But I just feel like it's all very hippie.
It is all very hippie. These Eternals feel a lot.
Yeah, he's a bit of a hippie bloke. have we talked about McCugh yet? The best Eternal.
Oh, mate, jeez.
Well, should we do favorite Eternals? Shall we? Everyone. I mean, mine's Thena. Obviously, Jack, is yours McCugh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen? There's been a 250% increase in people interested in learning sign language because of Eternals. So, well done, Eternals. That is very good. Calvin,
if I knew literally anyone deaf, maybe I would.
I've always wanted to. It just seems like a lot of work. Calvin, who's your favorite Eternal?
I like Druig. I think Barry Keoghan manages to be menacing and.
Does anybody know how to correctly pronounce Barry's last name?
No.
Isn't it Keoghan?
I thought it was Keoghan.
Is it? I don't know. Either way, we know who he is.
All right, Reese, your favorite Eternal?
I think it's Gilgamesh. I know he's not
Gilgamesh
the whole time, but he just wants to bake pies and brew beer, and that's the life I want to live. So I got mad respect for Gilgamesh.
You spit beer.
My spit beer, yeah.
I thought the action scene in the woods around Druig's cult where Gilgamesh bites the dust. That was one of the best scenes. I thought because there were different planes of action going on. We kept cutting back, and it wasn't boring. It was quite frenetic, and it was cool. And I thought the best display of Kingo's powers there as well. And,
I think he was
some of the powers. Really used. It's very MCU to do this, but they always almost dial things back on certain aspects, and I feel like they dialed back a lot of the characters' powers in this. They were just some of them were just a bit plain boring. They didn't Gilgamesh's power was pretty boring of what it is. He just has hard punches that this sort of bit shit. Yeah. Whereas and also with Kingo's gun things, I know that I made a joke about it, but it did suck. It was terrible to look at and be like, oh my god, that's amazing. He shoot little lasers out his fingers.
He's got finger guns. He's finger blasting his enemies.
I don't think they didn't have enough Cersei's transmutation, because that's one of the best powers. Yeah. They did do a few interesting things with it, which in the forest, I love the way she used it when she froze the bottom of a tree to break it in half, and then turned the rest of it into
metal,
something else.
Yeah.
No, water then
metal. I thought it was metal.
I think it was metal. Yeah,
whatever it was. That was really good. And then for some reason they had her transmute a living being, and then be like, oh my god, you can do that, and he'll be like, yeah, and then
did they explain why? Did they explain why she can now do that?
I think
your powers.
I feel they kind of did.
Yeah. It's like you've been here for 7,000 years. How does nothing happen?
Maybe she could do it the whole time. She's never tried.
I just feel like Cersei had very little development in the film.
Who?
Cersei. Which she just she didn't really grow as a person throughout the film.
I don't think any of them
really did. No, I think that's I like
had any change. They were already who they were, and this being marketed is oh my god, it's an epic. It covers this many thousands of years. Just jumping around through different time periods
doesn't sort of cover it.
Yeah.
For 5 minutes isn't epic. Just because your film is 2 hours and 40 minutes doesn't mean it's an epic. I just feel like maybe the marketing was a bit wrong there, because I was going into it thinking it was going to be something else.
Yeah, no, I had those expectations as well. I think it does definitely benefit from a second watch if you can sit there for the 240. Right, we're running out of time, so let's get to our ratings.
No, we're going to talk about post-credit scenes.
Quickly post-credits. Well, we've brushed over the Harry Styles Eros one, and then so the post-credit scene is Dane Whitman opening the ebony blade, his ancestral weapon, and our first introduction to Blade in the MCU. That is the voice of Mahershala Ali, which is pretty cool. He's rumored to appear in Moon Knight. And then, of course, he's getting his own film later on. So whether Kit Harington is going to appear in either of them is to be seen.
I'm really worried about Kit Harington's performance because his performance in this was pretty shocking. I've always had issues with performance in anything. I didn't like Jon Snow. Sorry, Jack. He's a boring character. Out of all the other characters in it, he's but he was a boring character in this as well. He just I don't know. Kit Harington just doesn't do it for me. But I like medieval stuff and I like magical swords. So and I'm guessing he was cast in this because he's had sword training, which is probably top of his resume. Can swing a sword.
Couldn't hurt, could it?
What are they setting up is him and Blade going to have a little sword school going on.
I have no idea.
Sword play.
Yeah, well, he's becoming the Black Knight, isn't he? So I don't know if if they could save it for Eternals 2, give him his own movie. Side character.
That was 100%. He'll get his own movie. 100%.
That was great timing from Blade as well to turn up at the exact moment that he was going to touch a sword he didn't want to touch.
No, he'd been waiting there the whole time.
Yeah, he's been waiting there.
What's going to be the most dramatic?
He's upside down like a bat.
Right, Reese, Eternals out of 5.
I will give it a.
Come on, Jack.
3.5.
A 3.5?
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Man, that's so.
Why is that changed?
I thought.
No,
because you obviously.
Did you think mine would be higher or lower?
I thought yours would be lower. I thought you were going like a 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah.
I wouldn't go that low. Because
you didn't seem to bloody enjoy it.
I know, but
spoiler alert, mine was a 3.5 as well, but I actually really enjoyed it.
Mine's also a 3.5.
So yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going
on. Mine's a 3 out of 5.
Well, we know what then.
The scale.
2.5. I give it 2.5. I clearly thought I enjoyed it more than I did. You guys have swayed my vote again.
We've done it again.
It's
just the scale.
You can't.
You know what? Every week I'm just gonna go. What do you guys want me to rate?
No,
all you did was
going to come to you first.
Yeah,
all you did was slate it,
and then consistency with your views to your rating.
Yeah, because the end credit scenes brought it back for me. I'm giving it 3.5 for the 2 end credit scenes. Sprite getting twat on the end of the block.
The bits that brought it back over the 2 bits when the movie was over.
Yeah, and I really liked that they had
all the way to 3.5.
I really like they had feels like the first time by Foreigner playing at the end.
That's absurd.
No, I'll give it a 3.
So we got 2 3s and 2 3.5s.
So again, Reese said basically nothing positive about it, but it's only 1.5 away from a perfect movie.
But he loved it.
Listen, people, I think now people just expect me to say bad things about shit. I think if you go back, I say very little positive things about lots of the films you've seen.
Well, just like this last half hour.
Yeah. I think the only film I've ever said really good things about is The Last Duel. And even that didn't get a 5-star rating.
Have you still to give a 5, have you, Reese?
Never will. I'm a hard man to please, but
the film will have to be 25 minutes long.
Can't wait for the day where you finally crack.
Yeah, so give me an hour 40 film. I'll give it a 5-star off a bat. I won't even watch it.
We had Halloween Kills recently. You gave that a 1.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. Right, that's it for our review of Eternals, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know what you thought of the movie in the comments below. If you're listening audio only, then make sure to tell us your thoughts on the film on Twitter at Keeping It Real UK. From there, you can find links to all of our pages. Make sure you subscribe because we've got a few reviews coming out this week, so look out for them. Have a great week and keep it real.